Mike.
Yes.
Enjoyed the film, and I didn't realize until I was in the little press suite over there that this is pretty much an autobiographical story, which a lot of people might not know about. Can you kind of explain how this came about?
Well, I guess it began in 1955 when our parents decided to get married, and my parents were born in 1925, and they were married for 44 years, and were true to each other, and were dear people. And then my mom passed away in '99, and my dad came out like 6 months later, and he wanted to be, as he says in the movie, not just theoretically gay, but like really do it and have a boyfriend and have sex, and and it's the last thing you think that your recently widowed 75-year-old dad's going to do. And then he just really blossomed in every way you can imagine. Emotionally, it's like his taste buds for life just became like really intense. And then he passed away 4.5 years later. So just watching someone change that much when you think they're not gonna, when you think that's the last thing that's gonna happen. And then all of our conversations about relationships and love and what you can ask for and what you can't ask for and what you can hope for and what's real, that was the genesis for the thing. But I really feel like it's it's my version of that. It's not my dad's. He would have his own different version. I have sisters that I didn't put in the movie. So it's as much my dream as it's anything that really happened.
Yeah. And I really appreciate how simple it was. At least it wasn't really a complicated film, and it was very beautiful. And can you kind of, I guess, where am I going with this? Explain just the design of the film. It was those little cuts where it's 1955, and you show the different. This is what women looked like. This is what families. I mean, how did that come about?
Well, so there's these historical sort of monologues throughout the film that talk about the year 71 or the year 1955, and you see this is what it looks like when people kiss, when they smile, the sun, the moon, telephones, movies. And I have a whole history of doing graphic design and art and stuff like that. And I do a lot of stuff that's like that. The ultimate effect might be quite dense and kinetic, but all the pieces are incredibly simple and almost didactic. And I just love that. Somehow that's my way of looking at the world. When I take pictures of one thing,
Yeah.
And I think that might come from if you're the son in a family where red isn't red and blue isn't blue and happy isn't happy, or things that nothing is as it seems. And while that doesn't come out until later in your life, that's something you feel all the way through. So I think there's a deep part of me that wants to see things as they are in a sort of one-to-one relationship, what is everything.
Yeah.
And that wasn't so clear in my family. So I think I have this deep visual filmmaking compulsion to make things simple.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really beautiful. So you do have a background in graphic design, so I have to ask, were those your drawings in the film, or were they Ewan's?
Well, that's my drawings, and that's my drawing style, but I would, Ewan was really sweet and attentive about I want to learn about that. So he came to my studio, and I drew, and I would sort of do half of a drawing and hand it over to him, and he'd finish it. And so in the movie, you see him drawing, it's him drawing on my drawings, or like I said, I'd start one and he'd finish it. But that's sort of my world, and I'm actually doing a book of all those drawings and all the ones I did to come up with those. That'll come out with the movie. But it was really sweet. Even when you draw, I've drawn all my life. It's kind of my first thing. And to Ewan, this is a fascinating, strange thing. And to me, it's drawing's nothing,
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny to be studied by Ewan McGregor and sort of examined and have it be meant important. And that's funny.
Yeah. What about Goran? This is a very different type of role for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even realize he was in the film, and then he popped up as Andy. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah.
So how did he get cast, or did you always have him in mind?
Not at all. He, I don't really write with people in my head because I can't. I'd end up writing a really bad version of their last thing I saw them in.
Yeah.
So he just came in one day. We were doing auditions, right?
Yeah.
And then there walks Goran, and I didn't really look on the list, and I was like, what in the heck are you doing there, And I love him from, what's the name of the movie with Tilda Swinton, the In the Deep or the Blue or something like that. So anyways, I've adored him.
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa, you're in a casting room. And he started an audition, and then he stopped midway through. And he's like, oh, I suck, I'm doing horribly. And I was like, you were doing great, you know, keep going. And he was, like, he really somehow, that's a tricky character.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting, weird character.
Yeah.
And he just had a line on it from the first thing he said, but he was like, oh, I suck, I'm gonna leave. And I was like, no, Goran, stay. You know? And then he really did this whole, like, physical transformation, everything about him, the way he walked, the way he stands.
His hair was...
His hair, we
really made it.
We made his hair. And he, it was really neat to watch as a director, like him, like, whoosh, you become this guy.
Yeah.
And he's so funny and so sweet.
Yeah. It was a really great role for him.
Yeah.
Just as a little aside, I saw Brotherhood like a couple months ago, and I got the opportunity to interview some of the cast, and I realized Lou Taylor Pucci is in it.
Yeah.
And I briefly glimpsed him in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've worked with him in Thumbsucker.
Yeah.
Was he just hanging around, and you kind of...
Lou's family to me, because like he was 17 when he did Thumbsucker with me, and it's really his first thing, and so he's like my brother. Yeah. And anybody that gets in front of the camera for me, I love, like with a capital L. Like you've made yourself vulnerable, you've given soul blood, you know. We're forever together. Yeah. And so I knew from the get-go, I was like, Lou has to be in this movie somehow. Yeah. And he does magic. He's a really good magician. So I was like, okay, party, Lou does magic. And and I was so happy to have a little continuity in my life. And there's actually a bunch of little Lou moments in this movie, because I was writing it as I was promoting Thumbsucker. Okay. So when Melanie's at the party and she can't talk, and she has laryngitis, that's the thing that actually happened to Lou. That's a real story that he told me, and he met this girl, and they had this great time because he couldn't talk. He was like more emotionally available, and I was like, Lou, can I steal that? You know, he's like, sure. So there's a funny amount of hidden Lou in the movie. Yeah. Lou's one of my favorite people.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't... When I saw Brotherhood, that was my really first introduction to him, and then I went to IMDb and looked at his picture, and I was like, that's not the same person. And then I was looking through more of his photos yesterday, and he also mentioned in his interview that he really likes to take on the role. So he always looks very different for each role.
And he changes a lot.
Yeah.
We dyed his hair for Thumbsucker, and then he had it that way for a while, and he's a shapeshifter. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the interview.
Yeah, you did great.
Thank you.
You did great.